He had a vision of a beloved community. Folks, if there's nothing else we can do. Let us become that beloved community, not just for Dr. King, but for what Jesus Christ stood for his whole entire life. Jesus came to show us how to be human once again. We had lost that. We had become barbarians, so to say, war and vengeance and wrath and all this judgment that was heaped upon Israel and the generations after that. Jesus came so that we could know and learn how to be human once again. He was for the oppressed, whether they were black, white, Hispanic, Japanese, Native American, or women. I'm proud to be a woman today. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, there's no gender. I'll rather be today than the gender that God gave me this morning.
That's right.
Any who were marginalized and treated unjustly, this is who Dr. King stood for. And guess what? At the same time, he was for the oppressor. His prayer would be for them to have a change of heart so that together we could be agents of change. That's why his pursuit was nonviolent. Listen, folks criticized him for being too passive. You're too passive. You need to stand up. You need to fight back. You need to resist with violence instead of nonviolence. People, even his own people, oppressed him and opposed him.
True.
But our prayer for Lancaster COGOP, we can't change nobody else but us, right? Our prayer for us is to keep having a change of heart. Folks, we've only scratched the surface of where God wants us. And merging takes time. If you've been married for any length of time, you can tell merging is still taking place. I don't care until you die. Merging will still be taking place. We've integrated our Sunday and our Wednesday services as well as prayer services. We've integrated our money. Some couples can't even do that. We've integrated our serving opportunities where we serve together. Some of us have integrated our recent call or text history. If you look in your cell phone and you see who your recent contacts are, your recent texts, some of you have integrated those texts, and you can see people, a variety of people on that call or text or messenger. Messenger's pretty popular too. Some have integrated that. Others need to catch up. But we have further to go. Folks, we can't stop now. I hope today's sermon will provoke you to be agents of change, agents of grace, agents of mercy, agents of steadfast love. This word that will not come out of my mouth is hesed, which is better understood by doing it than talking about it. This steadfast love, this grace, this mercy, this loving kindness that God gives us and heaps on us time and time and time again. We cannot get away from it. I don't care where you live or where you work or what kind of environment you live in. You cannot escape the love of God. Just like Martin Luther King Jr., we can be agents of change, or we can be resistant to change, especially in our own selves, in our own lives. And if we are resistant to change, it will cause us to eventually become a wrecking ball, swinging in and out of people's lives, wreaking havoc in ways that may really very well be unknown to us, even though others see it. If you don't know if you're a wrecking ball, ask your best friend. Don't ask your spouse. Sometimes they just want to take a jab. Ask those that work with you. Am I a wrecking ball? There are clear areas in our life where we know we're being called to grow, called to be agents of change, and somehow, especially being religious people, we have a tendency to compartmentalize away that calling to grow or to change and settle for appeasing our minds by justifying or comparing our involvement or giving to that of someone else. God calls us to change, and we wrestle, and then we look at our neighbor and say, well, we're doing better than they are.
That's right. Amen.
The next slide is a prayer that I want you to pray with me this morning so you can be receptive to what God wants to tell. So let's say this together. I am, oh God, a jumbled mess of motives. One moment I am adoring you, and the next I am shaking my fist at you. I alternate between mounting hope and deepening despair. I am full of faith and full of doubt. I want the best for others, and I am jealous when they get it. Even so, God, I will not run from your presence, nor will I pretend to be what I am not. Thank you for accepting me with all my contradictions. Amen. Amen. Oh, man, I feel like our hearts are clear this morning. What a confession. Woo! And the big thing is, we're not alone. Man, we're not alone. We all have this big, jumbled mess of motives, and he still accepts us with all of our contradictions. We're going to talk about Jonah today. Jonah is a book in the Bible about a prophet. He was a chosen man of God. Most of these are called prophecies. These books were prophecies, but this book was not a prophecy. It was about a prophet. He was a chosen man of God who thinks God is ruining his life. You ever been there before? I mean, come on, God, really? Why me? You're ruining my life. I mean, really, God, what are you thinking? You must not have been thinking. But this book highlights Israel's and our humanity, our stubborn hearts, and God's patience, his judgment, his mercy, and his steadfast love, that hesed that I want you to look up and get embedded in your brains. The book of Jonah reveals the confusing stubbornness of humanity and the equally confusing love of God. Our stubbornness can be confusing to people. And God's love can also be confusing to us. When we see him heap blessings over people that we deem our enemy, or deem that they need vengeance rather than love. Oh God, it is meant to expose the reader's own heart while we scratch our head at Jonah's hard heart. It is a story that uses exaggeration to create a story where the God who is gracious, merciful, slow to anger, and abiding in that steadfast love, that hesed, is put on full display. And in doing so, the book of Jonah anticipates Jesus' command to love even our enemies while confronting us with just how hard it is to actually do that.
You better go ahead and say that.
Oh yeah, I got a text message not too long ago and said, how do we love our enemies? I couldn't respond right away.
Jesus.
I had to get myself in check, you know? I had to realize the contradiction of Jesus' words that commands us to do this, and our humanity that says it's impossible to do this. And so here we are. The tragedy of all of this is that Jonah thinks that he is running. Well, actually, the tragedy of Jonah is that he is running from his life, not for his life. If you've ever heard the story, you know of the incredible evangelistic opportunity that Jonah had. He got to participate in. The Ninevites were a people of about 120,000 people. And they end up turning from their wickedness, and God forgives them. And this is a movement of God's grace that is larger than anyone has ever known at this point. But Jonah checks out, and he can't enjoy it because he can't give up his vision of what he deems the good life. And you know what he thought was the good life? He thought that what he thinks should happen to the Ninevites would be what should happen, which was ultimate destruction. It was retribution for his people. It was vengeance. We'll go into that in just a minute. But the next, this right here, we're going to read this. In Jonah 1, it says, the Lord gave this message to Jonah, the son of Amittai, which Jonah means dove, and Amittai means faithful one. And so here Jonah is a dove, the son of the faithful one. And we can see Jonah is not pure like a dove. He is far from pure, and he is one of the most faithless prophets we will ever see in the Bible. But anyway, he gets up and to get up. The Lord said this, get up and go to the great city of Nineveh. Announce my judgment against it, because I have seen how wicked its people are. But Jonah got up and went the opposite direction to get away from the Lord. And he went down to the port of Joppa, where he found a ship leaving for Tarshish. He bought a ticket and went on board, hoping to escape from the Lord by sailing to Tarshish. So here we are, the Nineveh. Nineveh was the capital of ancient Assyria.
Right.
And history tells us that Assyria came against Israel and literally wiped out 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel off the map. They don't exist anymore. Only Judah and Levi exist. I was looking up Jonah to see which tribe he was from, and it doesn't say he was from Judah or Levi, so he must have been from one of the other ones. And I thought, if all of his people had been wiped out, he must have been the most loneliest, miserable, hateful man, because he wants vengeance on these people. So I get it, Jonah. I get where you are, because I've been there before, and I thought, man, they took from me, we need to take from you. These Ninevites were the most brutal, the most oppressive, and violent forces of the ancient empires. The general practice of the Assyrians or the Ninevites was to plunder the city and skin alive all the leaders of the city in front of everyone before they departed them back to Assyria. Thus the reason Jonah would rather see vengeance come from God instead of forgiveness. Everybody say, oh me.
Oh me.
Oh me. Man, we have been Jonah before. But guess what? But God's done with Nineveh. He says no more. We're not taking no more. He said the wickedness is not going to continue. He sends a messenger to Jonah who runs away. I mean, come on. How can you give forgiveness to a people when they can't even hear the word of the Lord, the message from the Lord? But he runs away. And let me just give you a little side note here. Children's book depicts Jonah running away because he is afraid, and he sneaks on the ship and he hides in a basket. Folks, that couldn't be further from the truth. This man knew exactly what he was doing. There was nothing shady about what Jonah was doing, except that he was running from the Lord. He was very vocal about what he was doing. Jonah paid the fare and went below deck. And we'll read later also that he told the sailors up front that he was running away from the Lord. He said, I'm running away from the Lord of heaven who made the land and the sea. Hey, that's like me saying, look, I'm going to run away from the Lord today. You know? Hey, I'm going to run away from the Lord. I don't know about y'all, but usually we don't tell people we're running from the Lord. I mean, sometimes we keep that in the low. Most of the time, we act like he told us something else. Really? You know, well, I feel like he told me to go over here now. I think I'm done here. Anyway. See, Jonah wasn't afraid. He was mad. You ever been mad? Okay, he was hated. He hated the Ninevites and wanted them destroyed, but God knew that he was faithful and forgiving. Do you know that God is faithful and forgiving? Thank you, Lord. And he knew that if the Ninevites turned from their wicked ways, God would forgive them. Man. So Jonah wasn't a scared prophet that we think sometimes. He was an angry, selfish, racist, unaware wrecking ball.
Yes, he was.
Man of God. Is it possible to be that kind of man or woman of God? Well, apparently so. Okay? The Bible records that yes, it is possible for a man or woman to be that kind of woman or man of God. But see, there's something happening in Jonah's mind and his heart that really scrambles his reality. Folks, I can assure you when your reality is scrambled, scrambled. You may not think it's scrambled. Other people realize your reality is scrambled. And there's something terribly wrong or something terribly that's going on in your mind, in your heart, where everything seems distorted. I've been there before. You've been there before.
Yes.
Just when you think something's truth, you realize it's not 100% truth. And there might be some variations, or there might be some loopholes, or there might be something that I was too dogmatic about. And so the next slide is the verse 4 and 5. But the Lord hurled a powerful wind over the sea, causing a violent storm that had threatened to break the ship apart. Folks, this wasn't a normal storm. There was powers at work in this storm. Verse 5, fearing for their lives, the desperate sailors shouted to their gods for help and threw the cargo overboard to lighten the ship. But all this time, Jonah was sound asleep in the hold. This selfish, racist, unaware wrecking ball man of God was asleep down in the hold. Man, how could you sleep at a time like this? Folks, look at that scripture, verse 5. Who suffers as a result of Jonah's apathy? Apathy is a lack of interest or a lack of concern. Who suffers? Jonah's not suffering. That dude is checked out. He's gone. Bye-bye, Jonah. Listen, the sailors fearing for their lives, the desperate sailors. Wow, what a word. The desperate sailors. Everyone around him was the target of Jonah's wrecking ball. Apparently Jonah was not. He could care less. He was asleep. He was unaware of what was going on around him. The nature of sin is for us to be unaware and individually selfish and not even know it. Let me ask you this question, because I know it's a question that we think about. If Jonah is this man of God, wrecking ball kind of person in somebody's life, how is it that some people get to be wrecking balls in the lives of other people and at the same time be unaware of it?
Come on.
I know somebody has been a wrecking ball in your life. I mean, we all share that. There is something or someone that has caused pain and suffering in our life, whether they were aware of it or not. Most of the time we think it's intentional. Sometimes it's not intentional. Yes. See, what started out as a conversation between Jonah and God now spills over into the lives of other people. All because Jonah is checked out. He's so self-absorbed that he's not even aware that he is a force of ruin in the stories of others. All because he fell asleep spiritually and morally. Listen, there are days that I take Mia to school and I will pass where we normally turn and she says, Mom, where are you going? I said, I was going to take you to school. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? I can go to the store and keep riding for miles thinking, where am I going? Checked out. I'm in a totally different place. I'm not alone. I mean, I'm not the crazy lady standing up here today, okay? You're there too. I just keep on going. A lot of times I take her to South and I go to put my blinker on right here to turn to the church and she says, Mom, where are you going? And I said, to take you to school. You know? We check out. Not intentionally. Not intentionally. And here Jonah was checked out spiritually and morally. Jonah's decisions are not just his own decisions. His decisions affect so many more. Listen, your decisions are not just your decisions. Your decisions affect so many more. Verse 6, the next slide. So the captain went down after him. How can you sleep at a time like this? He shouted. Get up and pray to your God. Obviously he knew he had a God because he told him he was running from the Lord. Maybe he will pay attention to us and spare our lives. Jonah was the most faithless, hard-hearted person in the story. He's a prophet, God's prophet, who God chooses to use. He knew he was full of hatred, full of anger, full of racism. God still chose to use him. Come on, God, can't you use a better man? I mean, come on. Why Jonah? I know we can find ourselves right in the middle of a story, but wow, can we learn from it?
Yes, yes.
Can we learn from Jonah's story? Can we be agents of change? Can we change our vision of what we consider the good life is? Can we quit thinking we are running for our lives and realize that we're simply running from our lives, that God's got life laid out already, and we think we just keep running and running and running after this and running after that, and it's going to make me better and richer and wiser. And God's saying the whole time it's been laid out before you, and you chose to turn and go the opposite direction. Can we choose to love those who we deem are our enemies? Can we choose to be agents of change in our families and our communities when tradition tells us to do what we have always done as to not rock the boat?
Come on, man.
Can we dare to stand up with nonviolence, refusing to dehumanize people, yet standing up for the oppressed? Can we do that? Verse 7 says, and the crew cast lots to see which of them had offended the gods and caused this terrible storm. When they did this, guess who it was? The lots identified Jonah as the culprit. Listen, these guys, this crew, these sailors, they had gods. They had a lot of gods. Because if one didn't work, they were going to try another one. And so typically they would, things would work out. But they knew they prayed to all the gods of everybody that was on the ship, and nothing worked. And they said, here this cat is that told us he ran away from the Lord. Maybe it's his God. Maybe it's his God that is doing this. We need to wake him up. And they said, get up. How can you sleep at a time like this? And so here they cast lots, and sure enough, it was Jonah. How would you like to be Jonah right now? The next slide, verse 8. Oh, why has this awful storm come down on us, they say. They demanded. They just cast lots. It was Jonah. And then they look at Jonah and say, who are you? What is your line of work? What country are you from? What is your nationality? And Jonah answered, listen, he should have gave a different answer. I don't know why Jonah just be honest, He is just honest. And he said, I am a Hebrew and I worship the Lord. Wait a minute. You're running from your life. You think you're running for your life. You're running from your life. And now you telling these guys that you just ran from him, but yet now you worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land. I mean, dude, you can't get more honest than Jonah. Okay? I mean, if he's going to be ratchet, he's going to be one of those guys that's at least going to be honest in his mess, in his motives. The sailors were terrified when they heard this, for he had told them already he was running from the Lord. And they said, oh, why did you do it? Why did you do it? Oh, man. So how do you worship God and also run from him? It's easy. Just ask yourself.
Come on.
Just ask yourself. Listen, I got my answer. I know you got your answer, so we ain't even got to think about that. We can just laugh at each other today. As we laugh at Jonah and scratch our head. We know why we do it. We know why we do it. Worship on Sunday and run out the door avoiding tense conversations that need to be had. Seeing people at different times and, running from different things that we feel the Lord is saying get up and go to, and we'd rather just sleep in, or we'd rather just roll over, we'd rather go the opposite direction, thinking if we just go the opposite direction, he'll show up in another area that we want him to show up in. The next slide, verse 11. And since the storm was getting worse, all the time they asked him, okay, dude, what should we do to you to stop this storm? We've had enough, Jonah.
Right.
And he says, throw me into Jonah, and it will become calm again. I know that it's a terrible storm and it's all my fault. He's pretty much saying, kill me.
Yeah.
Just kill me. Just kill me. Perhaps Jonah had a change of heart. I don't know. But maybe he thought death would finally cause God to leave him alone.
Come on, man.
Later, well, you can read later in the story, God does forgive the Ninevites in chapter 4.
Right.
And he tells us that Jonah is angry at God's mercy. The next slide, chapter 4, we're going to fast forward to all of this. The change, the forgiveness, all of this. The change of plans that the Lord had concerning the Ninevites because they turned from their wickedness, they repented, they trusted the Lord.
Right.
Because of all of that, the plans had changed greatly. It upset Jonah.
Oh.
You're kidding me. And he became very angry. Okay, he was already very angry.
Yeah.
And now he's even more angry, okay? So he complained to the Lord about it. Did it not say, and listen, you've got to go back and read like chapter 2 or chapter 3, and you will hear his prayer when he is praying in the belly of the fish, and you would think, oh, his heart is laid out, and now he's going to get up and be this vessel that God is using, and as soon as he hits the land, he's thinking, I'm going to go, and I'm going to sit and wait for their destruction. You know, change takes a while.
It takes a while. Yeah.
And see, God has so much potential. He sees the potential in people. That's why he is long-suffering.
Right.
That is why he is patient. It is because he sees the potential of people. I mean, if he would have patience with Jonah, this kind of man of God, certainly he can have patience with us. He said this. He complained to the Lord about it. Didn't I say before I left home? This is why he left home. Because they said, why did you do it? Didn't I say before I left home that you would do this, Lord? That is why I ran away to Tarshish. I knew that you are a merciful God and a compassionate God, slow to get angry and filled with unfailing love. Hesed, he's filled with that.
Come on, man.
You are eager to turn back from destroying people. Man. You are eager to turn back from destroying people. And then he said, just kill me now. He probably wished that sea would have swallowed him up, but it didn't. The fish did. Then he probably felt like, okay, I've had enough, God. I'll just do it. I'll just make you happy. Just kill me now, Lord. I'd rather be dead than alive if what I predicted will not happen. Jonah would rather die than to see God show mercy. God help us. Say that. God help us.
God help us.
But God would not let Jonah die. Thank you, Lord. Listen, you can read the rest of the story on your own, but the story is not about a miracle, this fish swallowing this guy. Did it happen? Yeah, I guess. The Bible says it does, okay? The story's not about this miracle. The story is about God being patient in the lives of people because he sees the potential way before we even see it. Listen, our kids enter into this crazy, like as kids, it's like, oh yeah, I can see so much potential, they're this and that. And then you get to those adolescents and you're like, you know, your eyeballs are like crossing and you know, your things are kind of weird with the kids and adolescence happens and then teenage happens and it's like, who are you? And then you're thinking, but they're going to get it. And then sometimes you're like, they're never going to get it. And then you have hope again and you're like, oh, they're going to get it. Oh, I see it. And your heart is outside your body, going back and forth, wondering what's going to happen. Listen, God sees the potential in people way before we ever see it. That is what this book is about. We can see ourselves as a variety of characters here in this book. Listen, we are Jonah. We are angry that God shows mercy and grace and hesed. So we become the wrecking balls in the lives of others because God won't be our punk and bring harm to our enemy. We are Jonah because God won't be our punk. Come on. We're not God's punk either. And neither will he be our punk. We are the Ninevites. Even though we may not have skinned people alive physically, we have done it the sailors needed a wrecking ball like Jonah, because you know what happened? It caused them to turn to trust the Lord.
Yeah.
Right.
We need those wrecking balls. Had a wrecking ball not happened in my life, oh God, where would I be?
Come on, man.
Listen, the day we had the Christmas dinner, that was, and like I can see how Jonah can just be like, you know, I'm just so done with this. The Sunday that we had Christmas dinner, I got a call that morning. My friend that we go to celebrate recovery with at Second Baptist, her son had, I just got a call this morning that the night before he had overdosed on heroin. And before I got here, I left just in time so that I could go to her house and wrap my arms around her and love on her. I came to church and we had a service, and it was a great service. We had the candles, lit the Advent candle of love, and you know, I was just thinking about that. And so we go from an emotional extreme of seeing my friend suffer with the death of her child by overdose to coming to a place that is serene and just the presence of the Lord just seems so rich and so thick. And we get through the dinner and I'm dancing with the kids and having fun with, you know, whoever and talking and sharing and laughing and all of this, only to leave to have to go take something to a family in need that didn't have any heat. And then after that I got home and I thought, I can rest. And then I got a phone call saying that a friend of mine, like a sister, known my whole life, close, lived my whole life, needed prayer. She said, my chest is pounding. Things are happening. I prayed, and I thought, does she need to go to the doctor? I thought, is there anybody else? Is there anybody else? I'm sure Jonah thought, God, is there anybody else?
Right.
Listen, I went to get her, and it wasn't just a medical condition. It was an overdose.
Jesus.
Had I not taken her to the hospital,
Right.
it was already meth psychosis,
Yeah.
hallucinations, couldn't walk. The next several days she would be walking with a walker,
Jesus.
chest, EKGs, everything taking place. And I thought, God, I am so tired. All I want to do is lay down and I want to go to sleep. The next few days would follow with a week full of 5 kids with the flu.
Yeah.
The next week after that would be me confined to a bed for 8 days, can't get up because of the flu. And I'm just like, God, could you send it to anybody else? But as I laid there, I thought, I wish this on no one else. And if it's me that had to take this and me that had to carry this, then I will be the one. Lord, here am I, here me. Listen, I choose to be an agent of change. That doesn't mean that change is going to happen everywhere I go, but it first starts inside of me. It cannot go anywhere else until first it stops here. An agent of change.